Welcome back to the AEC subject. So in today's session, we'll try to speak on the low frequency analysis of an FET amplifier. And the popular FET amplifier is going to be a CS amplifier, just like the popular BJT amplifier is going to be a CE amplifier. So CE amplifier is usually going to give very good power gain. Similarly, here also FET is going to have a very good power gain in comparison with the other types of the FET configurations. Now, this procedure, whatever we are dealing with to go with the low frequency analysis, same procedure can be followed for the MOSFET as well also. So this procedure is going to be pretty easy for us. It is not like that much complicated as it is there with the BJT type of the amplifier. The only reason being is that FET is basically a voltage control device. The output current, the output current ID depends on the input voltage VGS. Therefore, you can easily observe here there is no direct connection between the gate and the common terminal called source. Whereas in the case of BJT amplifier, we'll be having a connection between base and the emitter by using a HIE resistor. In the case of the, if you consider a approximate model, we'll be having in between base and the emitter HIE resistor. That means the input, what does it going to speak to us? It's speaking to us is that, what it is speaking to us is that the input, the external input current is simply going into the transistor via this HIE resistor. So whereas in the case of FET, the external input current due to the voltage source Vs is not going into the transistor because there is no direct electrical contact between input and to the FET input terminals. So therefore the input current will not enter into the transistor. So what is actually there now? Only voltage is simply appearing across these two terminals. That means it is almost all providing to us an electrical isolation. It is providing us an electrical isolation. So because of this, what is that? The resistance is normally going to be infinity. So since the resistance is infinity, ideally the current will be definitely going to be zero flowing into the transistor, which is due to the external applied voltage source. That is what makes the circuit is going to be called as a voltage dependent current source. Whether you are talking about a BJT or a FET or a diode, what is the output of all these three devices? Obviously, it is the current. So what matters is how this current really is going to come as the output. Whether if the current depends on the input current, it is called as current control device. If the current depends on the input voltage, it is called as a voltage dependent current source. That is what the concept we have. So FET is basically a voltage controlled current device. So FET is a voltage controlled device, BJT is a current controlled device. Now the basic circuit diagram for the FET I can write as good as same as the BJT. So at the input side you're going to have R1 R2 known as biasing resistors, source voltage, internal source resistance called R signal, and CC1 is going to be the input coupling resistor, CC2 is going to be the output coupling resistor, and RD is the drain resistance, RS is the thermal stabilization resistance, CS is going to be the bypass capacitor. So all the names of them are going to be same. Here you're normally going to have VDD. There also you're going to have VCC. Both of them are going to be the power supply voltages. R1 R2 known as biasing resistors. Either way, in BJT as well as in FET. RS is thermal stabilization resistor. RE is thermal stabilization resistor in the case of CE configuration. CS is the bypass capacitor in the case of FET, and CE is going to be the bypass capacitor in the case of the BJT configuration. Now this is the circuit and output is connected to the load resistance RL. So across load we normally going to pick the output voltages. Now this is what you are basically an amplifier circuit diagram. Now how can you say that the circuit is an amplifier circuit? You should always see compulsorily certain things known as there should be biasing resistors, there should be thermal stabilization resistor, there should be of course VCC, there should be a load resistance, there should be a input voltage source, and they should be the coupling capacitors. So when you put all these things, there should be a bypass capacitor. When you put all these things, then only we simply call this as a amplifier circuit. So when you draw the equivalent circuit, we replace this particular FET by its equivalent model by input is simply replaced by an open circuit VGS, because it is the open circuit voltage between gate and the source. So it is represented by an open circuit, very important concept. Then in the output side, we replace this output by GMVGS. In the case of BJT, we replace this current source by HFE-IB. Because it is a current dependent current source, we write the parameter is going to be current, HFE into IB. Now here in the output side, this output current depends on the input voltage VGS. Therefore, VGS should compulsorily come in the output current side. If VGS has come here, what should be this value here to get a current? It should be GM. GM is nothing but is equal to current by voltage. So GM is nothing but transconductance, which is nothing but output is current, input is voltage. So ID by VGS. So when you write like this, VGS is get cancelled, we left over with only ID. So that is what the current we will be simply representing here in terms of GM into VGS. Then next one is going to be R0, would be the internal resistance of this particular amplifier circuit. Now you can see other resistors called RD, which is the drain resistance connected in parallel to the R0, which is the internal output resistance of the transistor. And next followed by the coupling capacitor CC and then the load resistance RL. So all the elements which are connected to the transistor will be as it is connected here. And next from the source to the ground, we are going to have RS and CS capacitors. In the input side also we can have R1 in parallel with R2 will be taken as something like RG, and there is a capacitor CC1 in between RG and the signal resistance, which is called R signal, and signal voltage Vs. So this is the equivalent AC model of the FET amplifier circuit. Now if you see this amplifier circuit, we have to go for analysis of the low frequency of FET amplifier. Analysis means what? What is the effect of the equivalent R and C at the input side? What is the effect of equivalent RS and CS at the source side? And what is the effect of equivalent R and C at the output side onto the low frequency response of a FET amplifier? This is what we have to simply find out in this particular analysis. Now we will go for analyzing the effect of these resistors and capacitors on the lower cutoff frequency of the amplifier circuit, such as FL1, FL2 and FL3 will find out. So FL1 is going to be effect of the uh, resistor and capacitor of the input circuit. So we'll just simply go with the equivalent circuits at the input side, at the output side, and the the source side. So the input side, when you really think about this equivalent circuit, the transistor after CC1 is considered as the equivalent circuit of the transistor, will replace the entire circuit by its RG, which is nothing but the gate resistance of the transistor amplifier. So the input to this is going to be CC1, R signal and Vs. We'll simply keep the effective things are going to be like that only. Then the general formula for the lower cutoff frequency FL is equal to 1 by 2 pi RC. This you have to remember better always. So the lower cutoff frequency of a filter is normally equal to 1 by 2 pi RC. So here we are considering the lower cutoff frequency of an amplifier, even though we use the same formula for the filter circuit. So therefore R is equal to, what is the effective resistance R? R is equal to R signal plus Rg. Okay, so that is the equivalent resistance we have, and the capacity is going to be CC1, C is equal to. So then simply we replace these two over here to get the lower cutoff frequency FL1 for this particular input stage. So this is nothing but the effect of Rg, R signal and CC1 on the lower cutoff frequency known as FL1 we can write. Then similarly we will go with the output circuit. If you see the output circuit, what are the elements we are going to have in the output circuit, we will see. And this R, small r naught and Rd are going to come in parallel. Then we are going to have CC2. After that we are going to have RL, load resistance. So we'll connect all of them as it is. Then what is the equivalent resistance of this entire circuit? R is equal to, it's simply going to be Rd in parallel with R naught plus RL is going to be the effective resistance here. Then capacitor, what about capacitor, is equal to CC2. Okay, so R naught usually going to be infinity because it is very high resistance. R naught is going to be very high resistance because output is anyway going to be reverse biased. Output junction is reverse biased. So therefore it is very high. So I can replace this R naught to infinity. Therefore I left over with RD only. RD in parallel to infinity is equal to RD. When the parallel combination, whichever is smaller, that will be coming as the resultant resistance plus RL. So therefore R is equal to, I can write as equal to RD plus RL I can write, and finally I can write this FL2 is equal to 1 by 2 pi. For R we'll write RD plus RL, for C we'll write CC2. And next we'll go for the effect of bypass capacitor and the source resistance RS. So we have to find out equivalent resistance R. The equivalent resistance R is nothing but is equal to RS in parallel to 1 by GM. Just remember this equation. This we have solved in the ED subject when we were discussing about the high frequency analysis of this circuit. Okay, and we just got this in that relationship. So directly we use this relationship. Just remember this RS in parallel to 1 by GM, because we'll be having in terms of GM here. Therefore remember this formula. So once you know this formula, then CS remains C becomes equal to CS, and we'll be getting the effect of the the bypass capacitor CS and the thermal stabilization resistor RS on the low frequency cutoff frequency FL3 is equal to, we can write as equal to 1 by 2 pi R into C by substituting all of them. And what is the effective final cutoff, lower cutoff frequency? I can write as maximum of FL1, FL2 and FL3 is normally going to be the design value of the lower cutoff frequency of this particular FET amplifier. So this is what the lower cutoff frequency analysis. So the next analysis is going to be, I'll discuss about this analysis on the gain in the next class, because it takes a lot of time for us to go with this. So straight away I want to go with the high frequency response of the FET RC coupled amplifier circuit. So because this is going to take very less time for us to cover, so therefore let us go with this. Obtain the high frequency response of the, just now we have seen on the low frequency response. Now we'll go with the high frequency response of the amplifier. Then we go with the mid band frequency of the FET amplifier circuit. Okay, so let us go with this. Obtain the high frequency response of FET RC coupled amplifier circuit, or in fact FET amplifier as well. So when we normally speak when we normally speak about the high frequency response, so we have to include the stray capacitances. So what do you mean by stray capacitances? Stray capacitances are known as the virtual capacitors, where the effect of them will be predominant at higher frequencies, because they are not the capacitors that externally connected, they are going to exist internally. Therefore they are called as a virtual capacitors, known as stray capacitances. So usually the stray capacitance are going to exist between the two terminals. So as this transistor, this is normally FET is basically a 4-terminal device. This 4-terminal device we are simply made as a 3-terminal device and connected in the amplifier circuit. So therefore now between these three terminals called gate, source and drain, we're going to have three capacitors. So between gate and drain, we're going to have CGD, and between the gate and source, we're going to have gate and source. You're going to have one capacitor. Between the drain and source, we're going to have another capacitor, CDS. So these are the capacitors we're going to use, which are known as the stray capacitances, which which is going to be predominant at higher frequencies. At lower frequencies, these capacitor values are going to be very high. Therefore, the effect is going to be almost all zero at low frequencies. At high frequencies, the effect of these capacitors will be predominant. So therefore, now rest of the things are going to be as it is here. R1, R2 known as called as biasing resistors, and RS is called as a stabilization resistor, thermal stabilization resistor. CS is known as a bypass capacitor. To get the AC gain greater than 1, we normally use this particular CS capacitor. Now at high frequencies, the inter-electrode capacitance or stray capacitance will be predominant. So therefore, we normally going to draw the equivalent circuit for high frequency analysis. So just now in the previous slide, we have discussed about the effect of the AC analysis, AC equivalent circuit of the FET amplifier at low frequencies. Without them, we have just simply drawn the low frequency analysis, where we replaced all the capacitors by a short circuit. CS is replaced by a short circuit, CC1 replaced by a short circuit, CC2 replaced by a short circuit. Thereby, we can just got this particular equivalent circuit. So in that, when CS is replaced by a short circuit, what is the resistance of a short? Zero. When a zero resistance comes in parallel with RS, the effective resistance is also going to be equal to zero. Therefore, we simply put a short circuit here between the source and the ground. And similarly, the RSG, after RSG, we're going to have the capacitor replaced by a short circuit. So after RD, you're going to have the capacitor CCD replaced by a short circuit here. Thereby, we normally going to get the equivalent circuit for AC analysis at low frequencies. Therefore, this model is normally called as a low frequency model without the effect of the stray capacitances. Now, at high frequencies, what happens? The effect of stray capacitances comes into effect. That means simply we replace here. This is the circuit without the effect of stray capacitances. Now we'll draw the circuit with the effect of stray capacitances. Now between the gate and the source, we're going to have CGS. So between gate and source, we connect CGS. Between gate and drain, we connect CDS. And between drain and source, we connect CDS. So CDS. Like that, we simply connect the inter-electrode capacitance or stray capacitances here. So after that, here this capacitor is looking like output. It is joining the output and the input. That means it is going to take in like a feedback resistor. To solve this, we normally use the Miller equivalent circuit. Miller's theorem we use. By using Miller's theorem, we can write Miller's input capacitor. Miller input capacitor can be written as equal to the feedback capacitor into 1 minus AV. And Miller output capacitance C is equal to CF into 1 minus 1 by AV will write. Okay, so these are the formulas which we have. So CF is nothing but feedback capacitor, which is taken as equal to CGD. So the effect of this feedback capacitor on the input and output, we normally going to resolve here by writing this as equal to CWI. CWI is equal to CGS into 1 minus AV, and similarly CM naught is equal to CGD into 1 minus 1 by AV will write. So this is what the formulas which we're going to have. So from that, we can just get the equivalent circuit at the high frequency analysis. So this is the higher cutoff frequency at input side. This is going to be equivalent circuit for lower cutoff frequency. Higher cutoff frequency at the output side. So these two are the two equivalent circuits at input side, output side. So these two, from these two equivalent circuits, we normally going to get the higher cutoff frequency and higher cutoff frequency from the input side, from the output side. So from the input side, what we can write, 1 by 2 pi RC is the formula. Same formula we're going to write, output side 1 by 2 pi RC. So R is replaced with the equivalent effective RI, C replaced with effective CI. Similarly for the output. So output equivalent resistance I can write as R naught, output equivalent capacitor I can write as C naught. So CI is equal to, when the capacitors are going to come in parallel, we simply add them up, CWI, CGS and CMI. Similarly for the output side, we are going to have these capacitors CWO, CM0, CGS. All these we simply add them up equivalently. Then CMI we can compute like this using this formula. CM0 we can compute using this formula. And RI is nothing but is equal to RGI plus R signal plus RG. So I can write this as something like this. Now what happens at high frequencies? At low frequencies, what happens? They are coming in series, but at high frequencies, the effect of capacitors is going to be predominant. So therefore, some current is normally going to flow through the capacitors. Thereby, these two simply treated as the parallel combinations. Therefore, Ri becomes equal to R signal in parallel to Rg here, and R naught becomes equal to parallel combination of Rd, Rg, small Rd, capital Rd, and RL. So this is what the conditions which we normally going to have. Thereby we normally going to get the higher cutoff frequency due to the input circuit, higher cutoff frequency due to the output circuit, and the minimum among these two is taken as the higher cutoff frequency of the amplifier circuit. So this is what the upper cutoff frequency analysis of the FET amplifier circuit. So with this we can find out upper cutoff frequency and lower cutoff frequency. Once if you know these two, you can easily draw the frequency response curve of the FET amplifier. Frequency response can be easily drawn by knowing these two values, upper cutoff frequency and the lower cutoff frequency. So upper cutoff frequency just now we discussed from the previous circuit as like this, where we take maximum of FL1, FL2, FL3. So these two final design equations are important. FL is taken as equal to max of these three we have to take. So similarly, the upper cutoff frequency FH can be taken as equal to minimum of the two cutoff frequencies we have to consider. So that, like that, we have to consider the value. See here, R is taken as equal to input resistance, R is taken as equal to R signal plus RG in the case of the lower frequency analysis, lower cutoff frequency analysis, because there is no stray capacitance coming in parallel. Therefore, that is the result we normally going to get. So that is what the difference which just now we have seen here in the case of the upper cutoff frequency. See, in the upper cutoff frequency, what is that we have got? Ri is equal to R signal in parallel to Rg. So this is because of the internal stray capacitance effect. So with this, we have completed the high frequency and low frequency analysis of the FET amplifier circuit. In the next class, what we'll do is we'll discuss about the effect on the gain of the amplifier, okay, at mid-band frequencies. That is nothing but analysis of the FET amplifier at mid-band frequencies, which is also going to be an important evaluation steps which we require to solve for the FET amplifier at mid-band frequencies. So thank you very much for the today's session.